Hey, and welcome to another episode of Get Out and Explore with John. Today I am in New Hampshire at the State Capitol building here in Concord. It's Sunday, so unfortunately we're not going to be able to do an entire tour of the inside of the building. It's closed for the weekends, but I am going to walk around the outside and give you an abbreviated tour of the outside of the Capitol building here for the state of New Hampshire. So let's go explore. Starting on the left side of the plaza in front of the Capitol building, we find a statue of Brigadier General and Mexican War hero Franklin Pierce. He is also the 14th President of the United States and is the only president from New Hampshire. He served from 1853 to 1857. Here on the opposite end of the plaza, we see this powerful memorial dedicated in 1953, which commemorates the names of the citizens of Concord who made the ultimate sacrifice during their service in World War II, the Korean War, and the Vietnam War. Their names are carved into these three abutting tablets. Here's something else unique to the State Capitol grounds here. Right in front of the arched entrance to get in, there is a time capsule, tricentennial time capsule that was entombed here in 2015 and is to be opened in 2065. That's pretty cool. I'd like to be around to check it out and see what they put in there. To enter the Capitol grounds, you must pass under the Soldiers and Sailors Memorial Arch dedicated in 1892 by the City of Concord. It is a 33-foot high arched entry with wing walls honoring the soldiers and sailors who served their country. The granite arch features carved wreaths, shields, and waving banners. Once you have entered through the arch, you are now in the 2.6 acres of the Capitol grounds, which are enclosed by a granite fence. Although there are no gates to impede the visitors, as this building is known as the People's House. The first discussions regarding a building of a suitable state capitol building in New Hampshire began in 1814. Subsequently, in 1816, the local Quakers sold the lot where their meeting house stood to the state of New Hampshire. However, there was a contest between the cities of Concord, Hopkinton, and Salisbury, with the latter offering $7,000 for the honor of becoming the state capital. In the end, Concord won. The design was by architect Stuart Park, for which the road next to the Capitol is named. Construction began in 1816 and took 3 years to complete at a cost of $82,000, as considerable expense was saved by the town with the decision to build the Capitol of granite cut from a local quarry on the north end of town, and by having the cutting and shaping of the stones done by inmates of the local prison. The building itself is in a Greek Revival style popular at the time. The entrance is covered by a small portico supported by Doric columns. The balcony is lined with the balustrades separated by Corinthian columns supporting the pediment. The statue of a large gold-painted eagle looking to the left was raised to its perch in 1818. It was replaced by a new Peace Eagle statue in 1957. Now let's fast forward some 40 years, and discussions of expansion to the Capitol began in 1857, as there was a great need for more library space and rooms for new departments of the government. This work began in 1866 after the Civil War and lasted for 2 years at a cost of $200,000. By 1903, calls were being made to expand once again as the state government was outgrowing its Capitol building. This time, the city of Manchester offered $1 million to have the Capitol moved. The legislature again voted to retain the Capitol in Concord. So in 1910, work commenced. This time, the improvements were also made, including elevators, modern lighting, up-to-date heating system, and to make the entire building fireproof. The first session of the State General Assembly began here in 1819. Thus, the Capitol is noted for being the nation's oldest state house in which both houses of its legislature meet in their original chambers. Here is a view standing on the front steps of the Capitol building, looking out at its front lawn. Here's a fun fact about the Capitol building which demonstrates the cost of inflation. In 2016, the Capitol dome itself was regilded with 24-karat gold leafing at a cost of $2.8 million. Right here on the backside of the State Capitol building, they got this beautiful little plaza here, decorated with flowers, and this statue up here in the middle. Looks like a tornado of flames up here, but not sure what it is, but it's pretty cool looking. Here's some information here. This is on the grounds of the Legislative Office Building, straight across the street from the Capitol building. It's a nice little plaza they have here. This is the back side of the State Capitol building here. And looks like there's another statue over here. We'll go take a look and see what this statue is. All right. Looks like the statue here is of George Hamilton Perkins. He's Commodore in the United States Navy, born in New Hampshire in 1835. Entered the Navy as a midshipman and served his country for 48 years. Some more information here about George Perkins if you want to stop the video and read about him. Looks like this is a list of the campaigns that he was involved with here on the floor right in front of the statue. One of the interesting stories about Perkins' military career was in 1862, he was one of 3 men sent ashore to arrange for the surrender of New Orleans during the Civil War. He was also in charge of the battle that led to the capture of Tennessee in 1864. This looks like another part of the memorial to George Perkins, a little relief picture of one of the Navy ships. I'm standing at the corner of State Street and Park Street, and across the street here we have the Legislative Office Building. Another notable bit of history that we see here is the black walnut tree planted at the right rear corner of the Capitol. This tree was donated by George Washington's Mount Vernon estate and planted here in 1931 by the local Boy Scouts of the Daniel Webster Council. Building here in front of us is the State Capitol building, and right across the street in the other direction is the State Library. Right, here's a neat little plaque right outside of the front door of the Capitol building commemorating Lafayette's tour of the Capitol on June 22nd, 1825. It says he was received by the state legislature at the State House here, and also returned on June 27th, 1825, as he was heading out of town. It's a pretty neat little plaque there, commemorating a little piece of history at the State Capitol building here. As I make my way towards the front of the Capitol building, I come across the first statue that was dedicated on the Capitol grounds. In 1886, this is the statue of Daniel Webster. The bronze cast, which weighs 2,000 pounds, was made in Munich, Germany. Okay, here standing in front of the main entrance to the Capitol building is a statue of Daniel Webster. He was born in Salisbury, New Hampshire on January 18th, 1782. The father of our modern dictionary. Webster was also a famous lawyer and statesman of his day. The New Hampshire native represented this state and later Massachusetts in Congress and served as Secretary of the State under 3 presidents. To the right of the Capitol building stands a second statue dedicated in 1892. This is John Hale. He was a U.S. representative and senator from New Hampshire who took an early and forceful stand against slavery. Hale's statue was cast at the same foundry in Germany as Daniel Webster's to ensure the matching finishes and proportions. Here's the third and final statue that stands in front of the State House that I wanted to share with you. Dedicated in 1890, this bronze statue portrays General John Stark in military dress of a Revolutionary War soldier. His left hand holds a tri-corner hat and a sword hangs at his side. The state's most famous Revolutionary War soldier and hero was at the battles of Bunker Hill and Bennington. Stark coined the phrase, "Live free or die," in 1809. New Hampshire adopted this as his motto in 1945. Cast in 1950, this full-size replica of the Liberty Bell, including an outline of its crack, is one of 53 commissioned by the U.S. Treasury and funded by 6 American mining companies. The Ford Motor Company transported the bells to each state to promote a 7-week savings bond campaign in 1950. So there's a lot of statues out here in front of the Capitol building, and here's a little sundial that they have out here. And the inscription says that it was installed by the Allied Orders Department of the New Hampshire Garrison in 1942. So this sundial was a Civil War memorial honoring the Union forces. Unfortunately, this is not the original, as the original went missing in 2010. This replacement was placed here in 2013. Well, the sun is starting to set now, and I need to make my way down to Rhode Island this evening, so I think I better get going. I was pretty impressed with what I saw here today, so if you get a chance and you're in the area, definitely stop by the New Hampshire State House. Guys, I think that's going to have to do it for the tour of the state capitol here in Concord, New Hampshire. Again, unfortunately, it's the weekend and they are not open to go inside, so I showed you everything that I could find on the outside of the building. Pretty impressive grounds that they have here, so since I couldn't get inside, I guess at some point we'll have to come back and check out the inside and maybe get a tour of the inside of the building. But until then, I hope you liked it. If there's anything that you want to add into the comments down below, please do so. And hope to see you in the next video. Because like I always say, you never know what you're going to see. When you get out, explore with John.